Newcastle United are growing and the rivals are intimidated. Plus, centre back Leonardo Balerdi, I think it is, Balerdi, excuse me, from Marseille and Edmond Tapsoba have been linked to Newcastle today. Who should they go for? Let's find out right here on Toon Tactics TV, folks.
Oh, brilliant from Schar. And now Murphy can take on the shot. Fabien Schar
All right, all right, all right. How are you all folks doing? I hope you had a blessed week and are having a blessed day. As always, folks, you guys could have been anywhere in the world, but you are here with me tonight. So let me know, guys, where are you guys listening from? Where are you guys watching from? Do let me know. And how are you guys finding the transfer window? How are you guys even doing? Do let me know. I'm excited about tonight's show as well. And we're going to be talking about the links to Leonardo Balerdi. I keep getting his name wrong all of a sudden. I've just been doing the research on him. Leonardo Balerdi from Marseille and Edmond Tapsoba, who we have allegedly put in a bid for. So let's find out how that goes. And but first of all, we're going to be talking about all these rejections that we're facing at Newcastle United, and it's caused me to kind of do a review of our current kind of strategy approach. Kind of, as a fan, see, how is our kind of a whole kind of recruitment process working from the scouting all the way down to actually getting the players to sign. I need you folks, because I need to find out from you folks what your opinions are, where you think the situations, why the deals are collapsing. Is it to do with Newcastle? Is it to do with external factors? Who's to blame? Well, not even to blame, like what's going on essentially. And maybe it's a mixture of all these things and more. But first of all, already got folks in the chat. Good to see Sarah Robson. God bless you, sir. Good to see you. Evening, Philip. Good evening to you. Let me know how you are doing. Aaron Cave, how are you doing? I hope you're having a blessed evening. Good evening, Philip. Good evening to you. Good evening to you. How are you guys doing? I'm gonna kick things off. First of all, actually, before I get into the scout and everything else, there's news I wanted to, other kind of little bits and bobs I wanted to kind of get you guys' take on as well. Because do you know what? I was hoping to actually discuss the young South Korean player at some point, but again, events have taken over. And I don't think I'll be able to discuss him today, but at some point I will as well, because he's supposed to be signing to us at some point. So we actually are getting players in, but except for I think he's on 18, under 18s, 18 as well. So despite what people want us to believe, Newcastle are getting players over the line. So let me just tidy up a few things and see what people are saying. Oh, got a chat there as well from Aaron. I think Man United, Chelsea have ruined the market and set a precedent for high fees. I don't tell Man United fans that. Goodness gracious. I've been debating the folks, a lot of Man United football content creators and Man United fans who think it's laughable that they could ever ruin the market. Like everything is their fault. But when I say you pay 60 million for Cunha, you pay 60 million for Mbeumo, and Brentford, not me, but Brentford cite these deals that you've made and say, if you've paid 60 million for Cunha, you can pay 60 million for Mbeumo. And now 60 million is the new 40 million. Right. But anyway, sorry, I need to finish your message, Aaron. Set a precedent for high fees with transfers of Cunha, etc. I agree. This is why I want us to shop abroad to avoid all this, because Prem tax is ridiculous. And it's interesting because the defenders I'm going to be talking about today that have been linked to us in Mr. Leonardo Balerdi and Edmond Tapsoba are both from abroad. I have a little theory as well on that, and as well as obviously the tax inflation, the price inflation as well. I want to get you guys' take on them because it's quite interesting. If we are heading into either or both directions, It's quite. They've got interesting profiles about them. I want to get you guys taken. We'll talk about it in a moment. Adrian Pickett, good to see you. Good, God bless you. Say evening, gents. Evening to you. Where the owls sleep? Mitch, how are you doing, sir? God bless you. Big up Philip and everybody in the chat. Good to see Mitch here. Cy Robson, I honestly think that it's embarrassing that we keep going in with low bids. It is a piff tactic, trying not to get lynched by paying over the odds in. Or is it a piff tactic, trying not to get lynched by paying over the odds in the transfer fees? We're going to talk about that. I don't think it's a piff tactic. I think it's everybody's tactic. I mean, look at Man United, goodness gracious, and then Bremo. I just don't think it's a Chelsea tactic. I think Chelsea just give them what they want, by the sounds of it. But great question. In fact, I'm gonna star it because I'm gonna be answering questions in relation to that. Aaron Cape, the thing that's frustrating as well is PSI isn't being adjusted. Yeah, exactly, to match the inflation of the market. So the PSI now was done in 2015 or something like that, isn't it? Which is crazy. So before we get into all of that, there's a few bits I wanted to tidy up, and I'm going to get into. I'm going to give this. I forgot his name now. I'm going to pronounce it wrong, but I am going to talk about this young Korean player. Hopefully at some point as well. Hopefully once that deal is finalized as well. Not going to be. Obviously, we are going to talk a little bit later about Leonardo Balerdi. I did some extensive scouting on him. I haven't seen a 90-minute game of him. So everything I'm talking about today is based on data, stat, and scouting reports. If anybody in the chat has seen Leonardo Balerdi play, like feel free to share your opinions on him. I'll be really keen to hear it. Anyway, speaking of young players, today Newcastle have got 16-year-old Isaac Moran has turned down a contract offer from Liverpool, as Newcastle are set to sign the talent. The midfielder has captained both Liverpool and England at youth level. And look, I don't know the young player, but he's, just those credentials alone is incredibly satisfying for us as well. And if anybody knows a little bit about the player, do let me know. But it's, again, good recruitment. I'm seeing us, hopefully for Isaac Moran, hopefully this young Korean player. We're getting a lot of little gems coming into our team. And like I said, like I'll keep on saying, for Newcastle to become the elite club and a recognized footballing institution, i.e. winning trophies consistently, dominating the leagues, our academy is going to be and will be a huge part of it, in my opinion, as well. So I don't know if anybody knows too much about Mr. Moran. Do give your thoughts on that. But also in terms of our business, kind of getting these young gems in as well. Who we've got here? I never thought about inflation. Okay, yeah, talking about the inflation parts, aren't we? PSR shenanigans and Chelsea are having their way. So anyway, Isaac Moran, hopefully we'll see more about him. Congratulations to Tino Livramento, who's obviously made the UEFA Under-21 Euro team of the tournament. He's at right back there he did a fantastic, phenomenal job again, representing Newcastle United. Again, obviously the Under-21s have won the Euros 2 tournaments in a row, and it's been England, it's been Newcastle, young Newcastle players. In the first one, obviously, we had Gordon. I feel like we had somebody else, but I can't name it. Maybe just Gordon. And again, in this tournament, Livramento, who have been key players in those tournaments as well. So, again, credit to Livramento, credit to Newcastle United. I don't take these things for granted. I'm sure you guys don't, because it's new. Like, it's, under Mike Ashley era, I don't know if we had anything like that going on, but this is absolutely incredible. And again, congratulations to Mr. Livramento. Adrian Pickett says the recruitment academy level is the thing that seems to be going smoothly for us. Yeah, we're doing a lot better with that at the moment. I'm proud of it. And I aim to do like a show really focused on the academy, but I need to find someone who's got real expertise on that, so I can have like an in-depth conversation about it and not just go off like just things I've heard in the news, which is important. But I need to know someone I need to have a real sit down discussion with someone. And look, like I said, we've been linked to Leonardo Balerdi today. Why do I keep on calling him Balerdi? Leonardo Balerdi today. But look, we've also had news that Newcastle have actually put in a bid in for Edmond Tapsoba, who we've been linked to before. Both players, by the way, are 26 years old. And I've gone to some lengths today, folks, to do some data comparisons between them, but also with Mr. Schar as well. So I want to be able to, I hope to get you guys your opinions on him. And like, look, Newcastle have launched an ambitious £50 million bid for for the Leverkusen centre back in Mr. Edmond Tapsoba, 26 years old. He has an £18 million release clause. We're definitely not paying that. He helped to win the unbeaten domestic double in 23-24. He is an invincible. Leverkusen are reluctant to sell, a hugely important part of the team. But now they've got Kwanzaa. Does their stance slightly soften? We're going to find this out as well. I don't know if some of the folks here remember Mr. Tapsoba. Let me know what you guys think. I'm going to be talking about him. Like I said, I'm going to be talking about him in a little bit of detail, or a lot of detail actually, later on as well. So we're going to come back to that. Another interesting one. This kind of links to the Anthony Elanga news. Obviously, with Newcastle have put in a second bid of £50 million. We haven't received any, or I don't know if anybody knows, but I haven't seen any feedback on that from Nottingham Forest. At least this time it didn't get rejected outright this time, which is nice. But this has kind of been shot down quite quickly. But essentially, Nottingham Forest, a link to that, Nottingham Forest have agreed a deal with Olympic Lyon for Malik Fofana, but no agreement on the player side. I think he has since rejected the move, but it's interesting to see Forest moving in that direction. He's waiting for Champions League clubs like Chelsea. He plays on the left side, I think. So I don't know. Whereas I don't know how people are linking it, but I don't know. I think it's an interesting link. Are Forest looking for replacements for Elanga as well? And guys, do you think we'll get Elanga? Do you think Forest will eventually agree and accept a fee, or do you think we're going to get passed over? Let's find out. And that's the other. Let's find out. Hopefully, we'll see something. Let me see what folks are saying in the chat. Make sure I don't get too caught up. I am breezing through this early news first because I just wanted to make sure that I don't miss out, because there's been tons of news on Newcastle today. Like I said, today we're going to be focusing on Balerdi and Tapsoba stuff, as well as our recruitment kind of approach as well. There's been so Aaron Kane. I've watched highlights of Balerdi. Excellent. I have concerns about him aerially, and it is borne out in his data as well. But he is a younger Fabien Schar from the highlights. Great ball playing CB and comfortable driving forward. Thanks, Aaron. That's super, super helpful. And actually, everything that you just said there is kind of what it bears out in the stats as well. Cy Robson Roberto is the best young right back in the world. I wouldn't disagree, though. I think, what's the kid's name from Paris Saint-Germain? I forgot his name now. He's extraordinary. Adrian Pickett, get Antonio Mango. I'd love to get Mr. Antonio Mango onto the show as well. I'll ask him and see what happens. That'll be a great show, I think. Great suggestion, by the way. Thanks, Adrian. Adrian Pickett, he's clued up on the youngsters. He is. Sophie B, good to see you. God bless you. I bet you must be so happy. The Arsenal looks like Arsenal are going from Madueke. I think a lot of people here must be happy that Arsenal are going from Madueke, to be fair. But good to see you, Sophie. Aaron Kane, we should go for Cassano over Tapsoba. He's better, in my opinion. And I think we've done a profile on Cassano before. I think he might be younger as well. I haven't heard too much about him. How's his year been? Has he been doing well or not? Newcastle have bid 43 million apparently for Tapsoba. That's what I've heard as well. Well, I can't remember what it said in the thing. Was it 50 million, 43 million? We're going to compare him. We're going to compare him to Mr. Balerdi in a moment as well. Madueke to Arsenal. Yes, please let it happen, says Sophie. Oh, Noni, you came and you offer us nothing, but we want you today. Oh. Did you just make that up on the spot, Sophie? That's incredible. Daniel, Europa League champions. Oh, you Tottenham fan, Daniel. God bless you. Welcome to the show, by the way. Great to have you. And yes, you are Europa League champions. Congratulations to your team. Sophie B, it's my little tune for the Arsenal fans to sing when they get him. I think he'd be a good backup player, but fine. The show's not about Noni Madueke tonight. Let me see any more in the chat, and then we'll move down. Some Arsenal fans actually thought they could get Rodrigo to end up with Madueke. They might still end up with Madueke, with Rodrigo. You never know. So Saka is available after all, and he is a Newcastle fan, Adrian. His dad is anyway. Aaron came from Madueke to Arsenal. The wheels are falling into motion. Saka to Newcastle. That would be incredible. Saka and Isak. How about that? Could you imagine the meltdown? Register Kev, good to see you. God bless you, sir. Hello, Toon. Is everyone else overpaying, or are you guys maybe underpaying? Too many rejections. We're going to be talking about that, Register Kev, and we're going to be talking about all of that and more, actually. And you want to say it's Garnacho? Yeah, no. Well, respectfully, no. So let me just finish up on the news. And once this gets a little bit more, I wanted to actually, if I had more time, and maybe I might do this on Tuesday if this crystallizes a little bit more. And that is Newcastle United have made Jason Ito a serious candidate for their sporting director role. And I think there's another one, I think Julian Ward as well. Following his departure from Arsenal at the end of the season, Ito is high on the list and one of the front runners to take over from Paul Mitchell. So I'm going to look at Mr. Ito. I don't know nothing about him. And I think I know a little bit more about Julian Ward, though, and compare them and also think about their fit for the club as well. And this is the meme that's going around as well. That's incredible, by the way. But yeah, I don't know if anybody knows about Mr. Ito too much, or we know about Julian Ward, but Mr. Julian Ward as well. So we're going to be discussing them once that kind of crystallizes a little bit more. Where you are gonna, we had if I had more time. If I had more time today, I would have discussed them a little bit more. But a few folks have already been talking about the rejections. All the rejections that Newcastle have been receiving lately, and I want to, if I can get this on the screen, I want to talk about I kind of do my best to understand what our recruitment, how it works at the moment, and get you guys' take on it. Find out the reasons what's happening. Is it just the Newcastle unattractive to big teams, to big team stars? Is that what it is? That's what everybody's trying to say. Have Newcastle hit the ceiling in terms of attracting players and everything else? I don't personally believe that. Is there something in our approach, or is it external factors that we can't control? We can't control whether Chelsea want to bid for a player or not. We can't control whether Man United can bid for a player or not. And neither can they control if we want to bid for the same player either. So there's a lot into that. So without getting too much into the emotions of it or anything like that, I want to be able to kind of have a methodical look at how our kind of recruitment process is, how it works as well. So I want to get you guys' take on it, see where you think maybe the flaws are, and maybe see what Newcastle can change or adapt. So as folks have seen, we've seen a lot of this going around, by the way, and that's the narrative obviously at the moment is, and it's interesting that Transfer News Live have put this up and Alex Crook is the source. And you know, with the kind of legacy media, I say legacy media, that's the kind of like your Talk Sports and everybody else. And they like to, in my opinion, really, they're getting a lot of their material now from kind of YouTube football creators, and they're trying to get that banter and the narrative going. So they don't even care about the facts anymore. So they've got us pinned down to this. Let me make sure you guys can see it. Yeah, you can. So they've got us on this tough transfer window for Newcastle United. I want to get you guys' take on it. So they've got Brian Mbuemo, Joao Pedro, and Dean Huijsen. And just to add to it, they've included and I've seen bids rejected for Anthony Elanga and James Trafford. I don't know how you tie in bids being rejected, because everybody gets bids rejected. But I think just to add the red crosses, they want to kind of emphasize Newcastle being rejected by teams and everything else, and add the whole thing around it. I think it's the player rejections that I'm more interested in. Again, we were tied into a very loose link to Mr. Xavi Simons today, for instance. A host of clubs are interested in I don't know if you guys saw it, but it said a host of clubs are interested in Xavi Simons, and they kind of identify Newcastle. Newcastle being one of them, but he's already said no. What what I really think happened is that his agent is trying to drum up business for him and get clubs involved. And he's already been offered to Newcastle, and Newcastle said no to Xavi Simons, but it's not going to look good for your PR. That's my kind of take, honestly. But it's this kind of narrative that obviously that people are going to be running with, that Newcastle essentially are getting rejected left, right, and centre. Now, even from that list, and I think the more you kind of talk about it sometimes, especially with rivals, the more guilty you look of being bitter or whatever, or kind of being salty about being the rejections. I don't personally feel that. I feel like there's always different reasons why a player doesn't choose a club, and I also know that for their clubs, as of mine, they get regularly rejected by players, but they also regularly reject players that come to them as well. So it's not a new thing. Brian Mbuemo constantly gets the only two players that I've personally rejected Newcastle from this list is Joao Pedro and Dean Huijsen. In my opinion, you can possibly add Liam Delap to that, though that has never been kind of made official. But we know that we was talking to him, and lots of clubs were talking to him, and he chose Chelsea. So you can possibly add Liam Delap to that. But Joao Pedro and Dean Huijsen, we know that we triggered Dean Huijsen's release clause, but we're up against Real Madrid. It is what it is. Joao Pedro, we know the story of that. And I'm not going to go too deeply into that now, because I'm going to use the kind of the breakdown, I'm going to simulate and kind of how the process of recruitment goes, and see where maybe Newcastle, and I'm going to use Joao Pedro as a case study to kind of see where it went wrong. And Brian Mbuemo, as much as Man United fans, and I get it, fine. And I'm not kind of overly fussed about it. Rejected Newcastle, rejected Tottenham twice, rejected even Arsenal, who I don't even Arsenal care. Honestly, Arsenal didn't even care. Of all the teams, Arsenal really didn't care. But look, all I can say to you guys is, look, it was as I've said before on other shows, that Newcastle were never the favourites to sign him. He was one of the players that we were looking at. And one of the prime targets. There's a number of prime targets. Elanga, I really do believe, is the number one target. We know that because we have attempted to sign him in the previous transfer window, and this is just a continuation of that, in my opinion. But and look, we were only ever prepared to bid. We bid 40 million for him, and we didn't want to get any higher, because his real kind of value is between 40 and 50 million, 50 million max. I don't know what Man United are going to end up paying for him, but he's a great player. He's a good player. Tier 2 level player. Tier 1s are your Lamine Yamals, your Sakas, and those type of players. He's a tier 2 level player, and he's going to do well for your team. No problems at all. But look, again, that's the narrative at the moment. Newcastle getting rejected left, right, and centre. So much so that you're just getting agents now throwing up. Yeah, everyone's looking at my player, including Newcastle, but we've said no, as is in the case of Xavi Simons. So what do you guys think of all that so far? Are you concerned about the rejections? Do you think we're not going to get any players of the line? Do let me know. And I'm going to go into this kind of recruitment simulation with you guys in a moment. Before I do that, I want to get into the chat and I want to see what you guys are saying. The chat is blowing up, by the way, so I'll try and we'll get to what we can. Oh, good evening to you, Onaya. Good to see you. God bless you, evening, Philip, and the chat. Register Kev Toon on the real great squad and on the up. I'm surprised window turned out the way it is for you guys. I respect that, Register. I don't think it's turned up any way at the moment. It's just it's a normal window for everybody. People get rejected, people get accepted. It is what it is. It's part of the window as well. I'm confident that we're going to get over the line in terms of the players that we need to improve. Daniel, who you's actually going to go for this summer though? Because I feel like it ain't many. Yeah, well, I expect that we're going to fill between 3 to 5 positions. I want to say 4 to 5 positions. I'm not going to go for all of them, but at the moment, a forward, a right wing forward, a right centre back, a goalkeeper, and possibly a midfielder as well. So I do anticipate something along those lines. But great question, Daniel. Sophie B, we haven't gone for many. The only bid we actually made is Trafford, Pedro, Elanga. Have we gone for Scalvini as well? And Scalvini? Really? And Tapsoba apparently as well today. Have we gone for Scalvini? If that's true, I'm excited about that. If that's true, let me know. Because I thought they're just giving us prices at the moment. Unaya, in my opinion, I think it's our strict wage structure that's getting in the way or saving us from these failed deals. That's a good, you know what? I'm going to keep that one in mind tonight. It's a great one. And it's not just us, like it's other teams as well. Even Chelsea don't bid for, you'll find that Chelsea fans are frustrated that they're not going for your Ossimans and your Eucharistus, for instance, because they're not willing to break their kind of 150k wage structure either. So it's not just Newcastle as well. And I know you're not saying that on now. Any more here? I'm going to go back to this, Aaron Balerdi being 27. I am going to ask a question around that as well because Tapsoba's 26 as well. So it's interesting that we're getting linked to these guys. Let me see if okay, so Aaron Kane says, in my opinion, we are lacking a key figure to sell the club to players. Amanda did that well, and since her departure, we haven't been the same. That's a really good point, and it's probably one of a few reasons, to be honest. Sarah Robson, I always find transfers windows anticlimactic. They can be. Sophie B, we didn't even send the release clause. We held talks of. Oh, okay, I thought we did. I thought we triggered the release clause for Dean as well. Any more? So, and someone, Kishan, Nanda, bring back Amanda. Oh, Mandy. UK, I'm not going to say. But a lot of people have been saying that, Kishan. I don't know if it's your first time to the chat. The first time I think I remember you, but God bless you. If you welcome to Toon Tactics TV, and great to have you on. Apologies if you've been on here before, but hopefully you receive a warm welcome, Kishan. So let me simulate this recruitment strategy for you guys, right? And get you like to take. First, I want to give you like thank you, Kishan. I really, really appreciate that. Love the show. Thank you so much. I want to give like a general, and I'm not saying that this is what everybody does and this is how they'll work. I'm going to kind of give a general thing about how recruitment kind of generally works, and then I'm going to try and integrate to what we know about how it works at Newcastle as well. So I'm going to get you guys takes on, okay, where is it essentially falling apart for Newcastle at the moment. So as we know, let me make sure you guys can see it. I feel like sometimes I do it too small, so let me just zoom in a little bit. Let me see if you guys can see it. All right, excelente. So number one, scouting identification. Just clearly, just like scouts going out there. Scouts produce reports on players, skills, physicality, mentality, and fit. And just, they go on Wire Scout, they go on Transfer Market, but they also go and see the players themselves. They've got the high-tech stuff. So the scouts go out there. We know there's scouts in England, in Europe, globally. and they go out to find the players themselves, right? The second stage is, and then once they kind of identify who they want, the just to add as well, obviously scouts use clubs use scouts, data analysts, and recruitment teams to find players, match on technical needs and budget by observation and global monitoring as well. So that's what and sometimes you get a lot of gossip from these guys as well. Some of these guys actually send the kind of some of the intel to In the Nose and everybody else. This is who Newcastle are looking at. This is who Man United are looking at. Stuff like that. All right, so the stage 2 is initial contact and negotiation. So once they've identified the players, it's the initial contact and negotiation. So approach the selling club, because that's what you have to do first. You can't just approach the player like that. Even though we know the because it's against the law to just kind of the footballing law to just approach the players directly. But we know that to circumvent that, clubs use intermediaries. So an agent's friend, associate, whatever, would talk to the friend and associate of said potential buying club as well. So, but the buying club contacts the player's club to inquire about the availability through informal or formal discussions and kind of gauge their interest. The club discusses the role, the salary, and visions with the player's agent. Yeah, the interest, the transfer fee negotiation, and then the club's negotiate a fee, including fixed sums, add-ons, or clauses, and everything else. So they gauge the player's interest, talk about salary, talk about the vision for the club, everything else like that. And obviously, then they also then talk to the club about potential fees and everything else on top of that. All right, cool. We all know that stuff. And then you get the third part, which is the agreement on terms, club to club agreement. Once a transfer fee is agreed, the buying club receives permission to discuss personal terms with the player. But we know that there's, that probably has already happened by stage 2 through intermediaries. But to keep appearances, club to club agreement. All right. And then you've got the personal terms and negotiation. The player's agent negotiates salary, contract length, bonuses, signing on performances, clauses, release clauses, and every other stuff with the buying club, between the personal terms and everything else, right? Okay. So far we've got it. Number 1, scout and identification. Number 2, initial contact negotiation. Number 3, agreement on terms. The fourth one, and there's the fourth and the fifth. The fourth one, obviously, medical and final checks. They just have the medical, so they undergo a rigorous medical to make sure that nothing's everything's good. Assess fitness, injury history. Although they already have an idea, the buying club would already have an idea on this. Include influence this would also influence contract terms or really lead to a deal collapse. And so if they find this guy's got some diagnosed situation or whatever, this might fall the deal through. Then you've got to discuss work permits and visas. So all that practical stuff. Then you've got the final stage, which is the fifth and final stage, which is signing and announcement, right? So contract signing, you can see Mr. Isak signing there is the paperwork. The player signs the contract with the buying club, and the transfer is finalized with the selling club via paperwork submitted to the league and federation. FIFA's transfer matching system, and then there's an official announcement that's made, usually through official channels. Then you've got the registration. Even though nowadays, I don't know what it's like for you guys, so the official announcement nowadays made through Ornstein and through Fabrizio Romano. I don't know for you guys whether that ruins for those of you that are old enough, before Ornstein, we have to wait for the club to announce it. Do you prefer it that way, or do you prefer how it is now? Me personally, I don't mind. I just want the players over the line. But that's how it is nowadays. Registration, the players registered with the league and the governing bodies and everything else. So there's 5 stages, right? Scouting and identification. And obviously the first 3 stages are the ones that we're really interested in. Scouting and identification. That's number 1. Number 2, initial contact and negotiation. And number 3, agreement on terms with the player and with the selling club. Then you've got number 5, medical and final checks. Number 4, sorry, that was number 4, medical and final checks. Number 5, signing and announcement, right? So that's just a general look. Now we're going to talk about how it all it's a bit different at Newcastle. Our model is a little bit different, right? Because we don't have, for instance, a sporting director, or we did have until the 30th of June, but we don't have one now. And so there's going to be a little bit different for us, and so it's going to be a little bit different. But let me know what you guys think so far. Is it making sense? Is there anything that we need? Is there anything you want to add to it? Now we're going to kind of integrate with what we're doing as well. Let me see what you guys are saying. The Isaac agenda is Daniel, great question. Why did Paul Mitchell leave? Well, there's a lot of reasons for that. A lot of people kind of talk about how Eddie Howe and Paul Mitchell didn't really get on. I think they didn't have a personal issue with each other, but I think Paul Mitchell just entered in a situation where, and we're going to talk about this. Actually, this is a very nice segue. There was already a process at Newcastle where Steve Nixon, our head of recruitment and head of scouting, he's like really experienced. He's like the eye test guy, right? But let me start first. Eddie Howe is obviously, he provides the template of the player that he wants. So he'll say right wing forward who's really has got burst of pace, athletic, and carry the ball 50 yards, right? And go find me one. He will speak to his nephew Andy Howe, who handles the stats and data for us, and he and Mr. Andy Howe will then look at players who fit that particular template that Eddie Howe was asking for within a data analysis, and he'll provide that data to Steve Nixon, who himself and through scouts will actually go and see those players as well as do their kind of background checks as well to see if those players would fit who Newcastle are. So Paul Mitchell was walking into that situation, and that kind of built that process that was already there. And Paul Mitchell had other ideas about where Newcastle should go, oversee, had different ideas essentially. And I think it was difficult for him to implement the stuff that he wanted to do. Plus, all the stuff that he necessarily wanted to do probably didn't fit where Newcastle are at the time now. He wanted to get really cheap buys from, unknown places and stuff like that. Whereas Newcastle, which would have all these things suit different clubs, but Newcastle are now kind of moving quite fast and need to get more established players as well as building that as well. So I just think it didn't work. All in all, I just did not think it worked as well. So yeah, like you said, he quit Tottenham as well. Though I think that situation was a little bit different. It didn't quite fit with him and Levy, but I know from kind of studying Paul Mitchell, he had a really good track record of recruiting players at Tottenham as well. You guys had one of the best periods of him as well. Let me know what you think. Kim Cam, good to see you. God bless you. I do not think Newcastle have the proper structure in place. Well, that segues us really, really nicely into Newcastle's structure. What structure do we have in place, as we talked about as well? So look, as I mentioned, this process, scouting and identification. Eddie Howe targets. So for instance, where is it? So when we kind of use Joao Pedro, so I've kind of asked AI to kind of put the Joao Pedro situation into this. So I've asked kind of AI. So I explained to them what I just explained to Daniel, which is Steve Nixon, head of recruitment, Andy Howe, head of data, Eddie Howe, obviously our manager, who provides the template for the player, Andy Howe that he's looking for, which a left wing, a forward who can play, or whatnot. Andy Howe provides the data. Steve Nixon provides the kind of the background checks, obviously, and the main important thing, which is the eye test. Is this player actually any good? Right. So, and we kind of fitted this into the model of the situation with Joao Pedro, obviously that our kind of recent unsuccessful bid. So Eddie Howe. So you can imagine this is a simulation. This is what I'm just saying. Scouting identification. Eddie Howe targets a versatile forward to replace Miguel Almiron to support Alexander Isak. He identifies possibly, I don't think it's gone that far. I don't think he quite identifies Joao Pedro, but I'm sure maybe he mentioned the name. 23-year-old Brazilian at Brighton, obviously Joao Pedro. Andy Howe provides the data analysis and confirms that Pedro's fit for Newcastle. His high pressing style and kind of our high pressing style and our Champions League needs. So he fits multiple position across the front three, even at left 8 as well, or attacking mid would be exceptional for us. So scout reports from Steve Nixon. He scouts Pedro, noting his flair and goal scoring ability. Our interest has been in him for 3 years. So had it not been, we wanted to get him 3-4 years ago. Had it not been for Callum Wilson pulling a hamstring before the season started, Joao Pedro will be playing alongside Callum Wilson today. But Mr. Wilson pulled a hamstring, and we pressed the emergency button and we said, let's get Isak over here. Let's trigger that 60, 70 million pound release clause, and we've got Mr. Isak. And we've had no regrets since then. But that was the case for Joao Pedro. We've been scouting him for 3 years, right? So sometimes like with these kind of, the way it's broken down into 5 sections, you think you can do this in a week. You can't. It can take weeks, months, years. All right, so that's the scouting identification. Number 2, initial contact and negotiation. So Newcastle contacted Brighton in mid-May. We're in mid-May, from what reports are saying. Some people might say, no, we did it last year. I'm just going off the reports, right? Newcastle contacted Brighton in mid-May, offering £50 million, right? By late June, was it £50 million? I think it was it £50 million it offered, or £40 million? You guys let me know in the chat. I think it was £50 million, but correct me if I'm wrong, guys, right? Mid-May, Newcastle offered £50 million to Brighton. It's rejected by Brighton. They demand 60 million plus, right? Well, they're all close to 60 million. We know that obviously eventually it's going for 55 million plus 5 in add-ons, right? Negotiations continue. Player interest. Newcastle would have gauged Pedro's interest by this time. Newcastle wouldn't have bid. So Newcastle would not have bid for Pedro if he hadn't given some sort of indication that, yes, I would go to Newcastle. So they gave Pedro interest by his agent, who signaled openness, like, yes, he'll be up for it. Great to have you guys back. Pedro, and this is the part where we can argue, did Pedro say, yes, I'll go to you guys, but I'm also looking for Chelsea. I'm waiting to see what they're going to do. Or did they say, and Newcastle still said, no, okay, we know that he's also looking at Chelsea, but we're going to press ahead. We're going to bank on the fact that Chelsea, because at the time, Chelsea was still trying to lock down Gittins. We're going to try and push forward for negotiations with Brighton and get the bid accepted and get to Pedro. And before, hopefully, Chelsea finalized their bid with Gittins. Maybe that's what happened. Maybe other stuff happened where Pedro and his agent never indicated to Newcastle that, hey, I'm looking at Chelsea. Now, I know there's a report from Fabrizio Romano saying, hey, I've always looked at that. Pedro's always looked at Chelsea. Okay, let's take that as at face value. Then there's the other option, which is Newcastle approached Pedro and his agent. They said, hey, we want you to come to Newcastle United. And they've said, okay, but just be aware that if Chelsea come knocking, I will go to Chelsea. All right. So Newcastle said, okay, Chelsea are probably looking at trying to get Gittins locked down. Before they do that, if we can push through this deal with Brighton, get the bid accepted, and then get Pedro, we can get that before Gittins done. But obviously, just bear in mind, by the way, guys, how much did Chelsea pay for Gittins? I think it's close to 60 million pounds. I don't know if Newcastle anticipate that Chelsea would pay somewhere close between 50 to 60 million pounds for a 21-year-old who plays in the Bundesliga. I don't think anybody anticipated that, right? I don't know how much is Gittins worth on transfermarket.com. Let me just quickly check. What's his value in transfermarket.com? What's his value in transfermarket.com? What's Mr. Gittins' value? Let me just see. Because I remember doing a scouting profile on Gittins, because Newcastle were interested with him as well before. So he's 20 years old. So he's currently valued at 50 million euros, so about 45 million. How much have Chelsea paid for him? It'd be interesting to know. If anybody can confirm. But I think it's how much. Let me just see. Chelsea. Let me just see. Chelsea get how much did Chelsea pay for him? 55 million pound bid. So that's around 60 million euros. So they've gone 10 million above the asking price. So it's not out of this world to consider Newcastle might have been quite surprised that Chelsea did that, right? So anyway, this is what's happened, right? So Chelsea agreed. So it depends where you guys stand at this stage, because it's a really important stage. Do you guys think that Pedro would have and his agent would have already told Newcastle, "Hey, just know that I'm waiting for Chelsea"? At this stage, if that's the case, and Newcastle still ignore that, then they took the risk. They took the risk, and it didn't pay off. If he hadn't told them, then you can't really blame Newcastle in that situation. Anyway, obviously we had PSR constraints. We couldn't go over we couldn't kind of really go above that. And the other situation, people were kind of talking about how Newcastle keep haggling over these fees. Just bear this in mind. Newcastle today have been linked to Balerdi, centre back, for £35 million, right? After we were willing to pay something like 45 million for Mark Gahey. And I think we would have paid somewhere close for a centre back in that situation. And what I'm saying is that, and would have also expected to pay something between 45 to 50 million for Elanga. And that's going to look like it's going to cost a little bit more as well. So that's already like anything between 50 to 20 million pounds of kind of having to overpay for players they wasn't banking on overpaying for. So I'm not surprised that Newcastle are haggling. I don't blame Newcastle for haggling, in my opinion. Has it taken too long? Possibly. But it's something worth us discussing and kind of getting you guys' view on it. Okay, because that's a really crucial part. We stayed quite a while on that initial contact and negotiation. But that's in crucial part, because that's the part where Newcastle will decide whether they're going to bid or not bid for the player. Either he told them and Newcastle that he was interested in Chelsea and they took the risk anyway and bidded for him, or he hadn't, that being Pedro and his agent, and Newcastle obviously were under the impression that they wanted them. Obviously, from that would have been medical checks and signing an announcement. That's all the stuff that essentially Chelsea are doing right now. So before I get to the kind of part where we kind of I asked AI in terms of where they thought Newcastle perhaps went wrong. I don't agree with their final consensus, because essentially it kind of blames overconfidence. Now, but I'll go to it in a moment, right? But I want to get you guys' take first before we kind of see what AI was saying, and I give you guys my opinion. I want to see what you guys are saying. Where did it go wrong? And it's important to know this because it hopefully it's not the case. But if we don't fix this, it will be a situation. We know that, for instance, from the Chronicle, and I know there's less and less people nowadays seem to be, I don't know. And I see a lot more criticism from the Chronicle, but the Chronicle, and it has been, I don't know if it's been proven, but Newcastle already had an emergency meeting over the transfer business as a result from the Joao Pedro situation. So clearly something from this situation, from this failed bid, has made Newcastle kind of sit back and say, okay, this is a problem, right? We need to fix this. So what do you guys think was the problem in this bid, and do you think is what has been the problem? Maybe is it a wider issue? Is it something for Newcastle to be concerned about in terms of other recruitments and other players? Let me know what you guys say in the chat. Good to see you, Mighty Mag. I'll be really keen to see what you think about this. God bless yourself, Ian Philip. Hope you're well. Living life to the full. Living life to the full. Kim Cam, it's not difficult to identify good players, no. But why have to have a team to turn it into? Why have to have a team turn it into reality? You have to explain that for me, Cam. I'm a bit slow. I'm not following it. But why have to have a team turn into reality? Let me know what you mean by that. Um, Aaron Kane. I think we got played by Brighton and Pedro because he indicated he always wanted to go to Chelsea and live in London. I think we dodged a bullet, to be honest. So let me know what you mean. Just to clarify that. So when you say we got played by Brighton and Pedro, are you saying that they must have told Newcastle, hey, yes, well, I'm interested, I want to come, do bid for me. But really, he always planned to go to live in London and Chelsea. And maybe he thought, okay, this might put Chelsea along, which has, if that's the case, it's had the desired effect. It's worked. If that's what you mean by that, I might have answered my own question there, to be honest. And we possibly have dodged a bullet there because if his true intentions were possibly unveiled, that would be the case. But great point there. Kim Cam, his value was much lower, as I remember. Pedro's, we came in at 40, 45 million. A lot of players' values have increased since, honestly. This is about Balerdi. I'll go back to it, but good to see BT. God bless you. Let me know what you guys think. Where do you think it's gone wrong? Yeah, the Chronicles. A lot of people say that, Sophie, to be honest. William Smith, good to see you. God bless you, sir. This whole thing went wrong when a manager was named before a deal. Oh, right. Yeah. Our structure is all wrong. And when it goes wrong, it won't be fun. Wow, you really have got some kind of. I think you have to remember, for me, William, in my opinion, is at that time when the manager was named, we were maybe already 8, 9 games without a win. We went on to not to win a game for about 12 to 13 games. We were facing relegation. We had to have a manager before a DOF, and we couldn't rush through a DOF. It just seemed to needs must situation, in my opinion, and it's just worked. At the same time, William, obviously, it's difficult to change that when we've been to cup finals twice, we've been to Champions Leagues qualification twice, we've won trophies, and we've got recruited really good players. So it's a structure that's very difficult to change. But you might be right; it might be a structure that doesn't work. But at the moment, it is for Newcastle, and especially from the kind of the owners and the recruitment side of things. So that might reflect on the kind of DOF that we're looking for as well. So it's not necessarily that we're going to stick with the structure. I think we're still going to evolve it. It'll be interesting to see how we evolve it. Probably get a DOF that's not as strong on his own kind of playing philosophy. Cy Robson, who negotiates with player and agent? That's the great question. Who does negotiate? Typically, a sporting director would, right? I think it's probably Steve Nixon and probably Eddie Howe, mainly Steve Nixon. That's my guess. That's not something that I know, though. But great question, though, Cy Robson. In Cam, it will go wrong in terms of lacking numbers and quality. For the first team, you can progress 1 inch if you do not invest in the first. Okay, we are answering a different question. Onaya makes the point, really good point. How did we convince Tonali, Bruno, Botman, Tino, Isak? They wanted to come, target players that want us. And it's, and I would agree. I do think it's sometimes easier said than done because it's always difficult to know what a player's intentions are. But we've been fortunate. So far, we've got players that clearly want to be at the club. Great point, though. Mighty Mag Philip, our transfer targets are getting worrying. If no major investments are made, I can see the blue chip players' heads will turn. We will be struggling this new season with Champions League games in. I'm not quite far down. You make a point, Mighty Mag, but I'm not quite far down that road. It's 1st of July. The old transfers, the old cycle is gone over. This is the new cycle now. Gears up and ready. Newcastle apparently have bid for about 5 players at this stage as well. I'm not quite far down that line. I think Newcastle will bring in players, and we will also renew big time contracts as well for our players as well. So that's my kind of overall thinking as well. But you make a point there, Mighty Mag. Kim Cam, I meant we should have a good team to make our identification of a player reality. Yes, and that's a great point. I actually think we have that. So we do. I think that's what makes our player ID so or easier in my point of view. I don't know if you noticed this, yeah, Kim. A lot of kind of external fans and rival fans always find our transfer business underwhelming, consistently underwhelming. The players that we want, even now they don't like Trafford. They think Elanga underwhelming. But I think if you kind of know our team and our philosophy and how the team works, you know that we're like the sum of our parts, and what player works well works for us. So I think we have that, in my opinion. It doesn't mean that we have disagreements about different players, but I think we have that. You see a lot of teams struggle, in my opinion, to kind of regain their identification sometimes when they don't have a good team. Aaron Kane, we need someone there selling the long-term vision and passion of playing for Newcastle. Currently, I don't see that. That's what brought us Isak, Bruno, Tonali, and Gordon. Is that you mean through Amanda and Mirdad, for instance? We don't have if that's what you mean, that might, that's another good point. Yeah, someone mentioned Cam. We do not have a CEO. We don't have a CEO. We don't have board of directors. We don't have. Excuse me. We have a board of directors. We don't have Mirdad and Amanda. Sir Robson, like I said before, bring back Mandy. Yeah, there's a lot of Mandy conversation. Kim Cam Amanda created a momentum for the club, and now it is lost. I'll wait. I'm on hold for that, Kim Cam. I'm on hold for that. I'm gonna wait and see. But I understand where it's coming from. Unaya, Amanda to some degree, but How was a major role as well. Without How talking to Tonali in depth about his role, I don't think he signs. And I agree. I honestly agree. I think How knows his players when he comes to them in and out, and he explains to them exactly why he wants them and what he plans to achieve with them, and that's what becomes a selling point for him. I think the players literally all the players that we have reflect How and reflect his personality and his character, and so that's what it's worked out to be so far. But okay, great points there. You guys talked about bringing back Amanda. Kind of concerns about maybe essentially not having a sporting director, not having a CEO, for instance. Who's doing these big deals, for instance? Who's actually approaching the agents and the players as well? Those are kind of real points, and that might be the finer details that is costing us. Now, like I mentioned, I asked AI, and it kind of boiled down to what it felt was overconfidence. I disagree, and I'll give my reasons in terms of, and I kind of take you guys. Also, what you guys were saying earlier as well. So reasons that there's multiple reasons weren't successful. So poor agent communication. That's from the beginning. We talked about this. Steve Nixon's limited engagement with Pedro. This is the assumption with Pedro's representatives. Well, it wasn't. Yeah, missed his growing preference for Chelsea, evident by mid-June. So do you guys think maybe Steve Nixon or Eddie Howe missed something? Clearly, they did. Or maybe they were aware and they took the risk. That's another one. Financial constraints. PSR limited, us as well. We talked about that as well. we can't give every team £60 million. Like I said, £60 million is a new 40. Thank you to certain clubs in the upper tiers who've made bids of 60 million for £40 million worth of players. This is what happens. I'm being sarcastic. Apologies, guys. Underestimating Chelsea's appeal. Did we underestimate? I don't know. Maybe we did. If we took the risk and said, Joao Pedro said, guys, I'll come to you, but I'll just let you know I am waiting for Chelsea's bid. If it doesn't come, I'll come to you. If Joao Pedro and his agent were open and transparent like that, and Newcastle still took the risk, I don't necessarily think they kind of underestimated Chelsea's appeal. I think they underestimated how quickly Chelsea can kind of get deals done, which is a point. No sporting director. A lot of you guys mentioned that. Not having Paul Mitchell, not having somebody at the helm doing that could be a situation. But also, it's a competitive market. It's fast-moving window. Chelsea's late entry outpaced Newcastle. And sometimes, look, that's just what happens. Chelsea came in, met the fee, gave a big contract and made the decision very, very easy. Newcastle can't give 7-year contract to players and 150k. Like even Isak's not on 150k at the moment. and that's probably close to the same wage as what Bruno's on. Newcastle can't compete with that at this stage, not yet anyway. And so that's just the reality of it, right? And I think my opinion is in conclusion, my thing I think is all these things into one. I think Joao Pedro was probably interested. I think that I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. And I think Joao Pedro was interested, perhaps, but was also quite transparent in saying, look, and his agent was quite transparent. Listen, we will come to you guys if you meet Brighton's fee. We have personal terms agreed, yada, yada, yada. We're ready for you guys, right? But, if Chelsea do come along, we're going to go that direction as well, right? At that moment in time, in mid-May and up to early kind of parts of June, Chelsea were looking at Gittins. I forgot the other players they were bringing in. It didn't look like Chelsea were going in that direction at all. Then obviously things changed really, really, and then obviously Newcastle were held up, kind of bargaining with Brighton, and Brighton did what Brentford did. They waited for Club World Cup for Chelsea to return. Brentford waited for Man United to come because they knew that they would come once they kind of once they were ready to prepare a bid as well, and they waited for the highest bid, and that's just what's happened essentially. In terms of that, and they were able to come in. I think Newcastle took the risk. My main thing now, though, is, and this goes back to what people were saying about does this model work, is how do Newcastle respond? And guys, correct me if I'm wrong. I think we have our preseason starts on 7th of July, I think, next week. If we have still 0 players by then, and look, season doesn't start till later, but you want players in by preseason. When your big money players, as mentioned by Mighty Mag, when your blue chip players come in preseason, they want to see some new faces. They want to see some new faces. So Newcastle have 6 days from as we're talking right now to get something going. So I'm not going to make my full judgment on them now, but if they took the risk, as I think they did, where I think I'm going to give Joao Pedro and his agent the benefit of the doubt. They took the risk to go for him anyway. It didn't pay off. Do they have a backup plan? And who is that? Who and what is that backup plan is what I'm waiting to see as well. And so they've got 6 days. They've got 6 days to kind of show it, in my opinion. But let me know what you guys say. We're going to, in the next section, we're going to be talking about Balerdi, Tapsoba, how they compare to Schar. Who would you guys prefer? And what do you guys think of this business? Speaking of new faces, can we get someone? Maybe can we get a centre back over the line? Maybe Trafford. Obviously, Trafford seems to be what people are saying possibly already a done deal. We'll find out. But before we do that, let me see what you guys are saying in the chat. Kim Camfield says Eddie Howe is overachieving, is covering our cracks. Possibly. Janista One Out, I'm good to see you and God bless you, sir. Just here to say, hit the like. Oh, folks, yes, please hit the likes, people. Philip deserves more views going forward. Thank you so much for that, guys. I forgot to ask, guys. Please, you've been doing so well. Please do hit the likes. I think we're like 6-7 away from 800 subscribers. If you guys haven't already subscribed, please do subscribe if you enjoy the show. It'd be great to have you on. Maybe we can hit that 800 subscribers on today. Do let me know. So, folks, like, share, subscribe. Let's see if we can hit 800 today. Let me know in the chat, guys, if we hit 800. That'll be absolutely phenomenal. We've got 32 people here. I'm sure we can hit that 800 milestone. All right. So, Janista will watch back tomorrow. Appreciate you, Janista. Good to have you come through. Sir Robson, I understand that Howe talks to the player about the football side of things, but who talks to the agent about the contract and the finance side of things? Great question. Is it Steve Nixon? Is it maybe even one of the Rubin brothers? Who is it that deals with that? I'm sure they have someone. I hope they have someone who professionally does that. If they don't, I'll be a bit scared. Now, Kane, good to see you. Big up, mate. Big up to you, sir. God bless you. Kim Cam, you need somebody like Amanda at the club. Losing her was short sighted. There were reasons for that. I don't know the full reasons, but there was a bit of a falling out. Um, Durban Sky Slot, Keegan would be the man to sell the vision to potential. He would be, wouldn't he? Be phenomenal. I don't know if it's your first time to Toon Tactics TV, but welcome Durban and God bless you as well. All right, Kishan, we should look at Lyon players. That they're doing a fire sale, aren't they? They're doing a fire sale. Have we got any more? Kim Cam, Newcastle new project is not made of the PIF imagination, but Amanda's. Just what I gather. Newcastle's new project is not made of the PIF imagination, but Amanda's. Just what I gather. So it's like more of Amanda's vision. Is that what you're saying? Possibly. Chelsea, excuse me, Chelsea. Aaron Kane, if Chelsea can offer higher wages and we can't, and that's the reality. Even with their their strict wage structure, they can still offer higher than we can. It's going to take us a couple more qualifications in the Champions League to be able to compete on that level. The reality is players will always want higher wages. That does play a big part. That plays a huge, huge part for Newcastle. So Kim Cam, Pedro was interested. I think so. Newcastle were dragging their feet, but for the second time in 3 years, you do not lose a player you rate for 5 million. I think it was 5 million plus 5 more add-ons as well. And the wages was the key. I think the wage is the key. It's not the transfer fees, the wages. 150k is what's rumored to be the wages. And like I said, that puts him at the same level as Bruno Gomes, even higher Anthony Gordon. We start pulling that stunt before we even secured Isak's renewal contract. So Isak is the contract that we need to renew. Isak is the contract that is going to be the domino effect for all of our players. But the grace of God, once the contract is renewed and he accepts it, whether it's 200k, 250k, then you're going to see that roll down. It can't be Pedro. We can't change our wage structure because of Pedro. It has to be Isak, in my opinion. If that's the case, I think we've got our priorities right. Aaron Kane, the good thing is I think Trafford is in by pre-season, but we need more than Trafford. I agree. We need at least one more by pre-season. Steve Nixon. Okay, Unai says Nixon has the required experience and knowledge, less so. Baby, how? Yes, definitely. I agree. Kim Cam, if they can square the circle, this window between what AH needs and the monies available dictates they will win Nobel. Yeah, I get that absolutely. Yeah, and we're going to talk about that, Kisham. The Marseille defender, Mr. Leonardo, Balerdi. I'm going to compare him to Tapsoba because apparently we've made a bid for Tapsoba as well. I'm going to talk about it in the next couple of minutes. Stick around for that. Alessandro Minetti, God bless you. If it's your first time to the channel, I wish Newcastle could have Robin Lenormand next to Sven Botman. We were interested in him before. Imagine those two together. Lenormand just signed a 5-year contract post-August, though. He has. We were interested in him before, but I think he really likes Spain. Good call, though. Good call. Mighty Mag, a few players in Lyon might be worth a punt. I agree. I think we need more than a punt, though. We need to solidify our position as Champions League regulars. Like, we can't be playing around. Like, teams are, Arsenal, Man City, Liverpool, all those guys aren't messing around. Chelsea aren't messing around. We can't be messing around. Yeah, Mikey P, good to see you. God bless you. No CEO, no DOF. Eddie's got a lot to deal with. I hope we get the right players. I do as well. We're up against it. We are up against it. Onaya, my litmus test for how and the recruitment team is the Trafford deal. If it's done, great. If not, then we are in trouble. Good call there. I think it's done. Kim Cam, I'm sorry, I missed that. I'm sorry, I do not know about the wage demands of Pedro. No need to apologize. Like, no need. It's not a thing. That's what's been called. Do double check, but that's what I've seen. I want to say Fabrizio, but that's what I've seen. That's what I've seen. Big Preach, good to see you. God bless you, sir. But guys, Big Preach got his new channel as well. Preach, make sure you put it in the chats for the folks as well. Big up to yeah, guys, do smash the likes, people. Let me know, have we reached 800 subscribers, guys? Last time I saw we were about 6 away. Do let me know. It'd be great to cross that. It would be great to cross that milestone. Right. So one more minute, and I will get on to the Leon Balerdi deal and potential deal anyway, and Tapsoba. Kishan, Trafford, and Elanga will be in. See, I love that confidence. And I think if we get Elanga over across the line before pre-season, Isak walks in the club and he sees his Swedish teammate Elanga, that'll be a boost. Aaron Kane for that Leon strike will be a shout. Georgian want to replace Wilson. Yeah. Diaz, don't upset me, Preach. Don't upset me. I think Diaz is going to sign for Bayern Munich, possibly. I think they're interested. 699. I don't know what you mean, Preach. Let me know what you're saying. All right, so great stuff there. We talked about all of that. I heard that Elanga wants to go to Newcastle, and that'll be. I hope that's the case. All right, so folks, we've been linked to a centre back. We've been linked to 2 centre backs, and I want to talk about this man. Let me make sure I got him on the screen. Leonardo Balerdi. Now, I've used FB Ref. There's a couple of scouting reports as well that I've kind of summarized as well, because I haven't seen him. I haven't seen one 90-minute game of him. So I think Aaron's seen a bit of him and he's given his take as well. But if anybody's seen a 90-minute game or more games of Balerdi, do let me know. First of all, he's got a really interesting history before I get into it, because he plays. He's got Argentinian citizenship, but I think he's Italian. But he was born in Ukraine. That's fantastic, honestly. Let me just get to his profile first. But that's absolutely fantastic. Like that's a hell of a story. If I ever get to meet Mr. Balerdi, maybe one day get to interview players on this as well. That'd be amazing. If I ever get to interview Mr. Balerdi, I'll ask him how did I end up happening. I'll be really interested to know. So let me just quickly share him on what his profile on Transfer Market before we get to the nitty and the gritty of his playing style and scout reports. Let's get a brief profile on him. And essentially, was it in the? So no, let me get to see what Craig hopes. So it's come up in the news. Where is it? Balerdi. Where art thou, Balerdi? Where are you? Okay, it's just yeah. So this is an exclusive. It's behind the paywall. I used to have the paywall, but it wasn't very interesting, so I took it off. Now all the players are coming through. So exclusive. Newcastle exploring the move from Marseille centre back. This is from Craig Hope. So it's a live from Craig Hope. Newcastle are interested in are exploring a move. That's an interesting word for Marseille centre back Leonardo Balerdi. All right, so let's see what that means. Let's see who he is. Let's get a quick take on him here. Right. Make sure you guys can see that. Yes, you can. Right. So he's born on the 26th of January 1999. He's 26 years old. So in this coming season, he'll be 27. So he's pretty much, in the first year or two of his kind of the peak of his powers, which is again interesting in terms of age, 26 years old. And we're going to talk about Tapsoba in a moment, who's 26 years old as well. And what I wanted to say was, and it goes back to Aaron Kane's point, and I think other people were saying, is that we usually we're looking for centre backs that are 24 and under. And what I wonder is, are we, when we're looking abroad, because one of the key things in terms of looking for younger players in general, not just centre backs, but obviously we're talking about centre backs now. We've been looking for younger centre backs, especially in the Premier League, because obviously kind of age, PSR, and everything else. I wonder if, with the links to Balerdi and the links to Tapsoba, who are both 26, 26, 27, I wonder if we're kind of saying, okay, we're paying less for them, but the main thing is around experience. We have less risk on these players because they're older. They've got quite they're internationals as well. They've got a lot of league experience, Champions League experience, a lot of minutes on the board. The level of risk is a bit lower compared to buying a 21, 22, 23-year-old from those particular leagues. So I'm wondering if we're looking at quite a little bit older players from abroad because they have that level of maturity. So that's my kind of beginning feel of it. But Mr. Balerdi, Leonardo Julian Balerdi Rosa, he has Argentinian citizenship, but I think he's Italian. He was born in Ukraine. That's what it said on his thing anyway. He's got a contract that he's currently valued at 20 million euros on the transfer market, which is interesting. And I think it's reported at 35 million euros at the moment as well. That could be a potential sell, which is again, the transfer market isn't too far away from actual estimates. So it's typically, I always find that whatever transfer market estimates, those players get bought for about 10, roughly 50 million pound over. Centre back can play right, left centre back, and what you see from the scouting reports as well, that he actually primarily has been playing left centre back for Marseille. But so contract runs out in 2028. He's an Argentinian international. Has played 8 games for the senior team since 2019. But otherwise has played at under 20 level, under 23 levels as well, possibly even more than that, actually. Has he played any lower than that? Let's see. It's not coming up. Oh, it is coming up. Brilliant. Yes, under 20s and under 23 level. Has played some World Cup qualification games as well. So he's got good international background. This is his career entirety. So he's been playing primarily. What you'll see is that he's obviously raised around Argentina, where he started his career. Oh gosh, I was always messing around here. Going from Argentina to Dortmund, where he spent about a year or so before going to Marseille, eventually staying there. He went there for a loan in 2020, and I think he signed a permanent contract in 2021. He's been there until now, really. So for the last 4 or 5 years, essentially. So he's kind of made a home there. He's played 127 League R games where he scored 4 goals and 2 assists. This year alone, he's played nearly 2,444 minutes. Again, lots of experience there. He's like the mainstay of the Marseille team. I think he's captain as well. He is captain. He's played 4, and it's what talking about experience. 127 League R games, 14 Europa League games, cup competitions, 10 Champions League games. So there's a lot of experience there. And I think what Eddie Howe is saying is and the recruitment are saying is if we're going to go abroad, we need to get players that have experience. We need to get players that have experience because that kind of offsets the whole kind of risk element to it. So that's a little bit of background on him. Let's see some of his stats with FB Ref. I'll summarize them and let's see how he compares to Tapsoba afterwards. And Schar is obviously the man that he'll be looking to replace as well. So let's see what they're saying. Remember, folks, to like, share, and subscribe. We've got some really good, a lot of folks coming in, a lot of comments dropping in, which is absolutely fantastic. Do let me know what you guys are saying. So, Leonardo Balerdi, and what I've done is, oh no, not this one. Let me go back quickly, actually. Let me just quickly read his current stats from FB Ref. Those are the stats from his scouting reports. Where are you? Where art thou? Where are you? Here we go. Right. What you will see, make sure you guys can see it. I'll be zooming that in. This is the interesting part. It made me think, have I got the right guy? But he was born in Ukraine. He's currently on 80,000 euros, which is roughly what, 75, 70K, 70 pounds, 1,000 pounds, excuse me. So I can see Newcastle up in his wage to about 100K, 120K, for instance. So they've got him standing at 193 centimeters. He's tall, around 6'4", 96 kg, big, from what I can see there, if that's the case as well. And you can see where he excels at, especially around the passing stats. So his passing stats are absolutely through the roof. 99, all in the 90s for passes attempted. Make sure you guys can see that. Let me make sure you guys can see that. Yes, you can, right. So he's all in the 90s for passes attempted, pass completions, successful take-ons, and this goes back to the whole situation we were talking about, how I think Eddie Howe is really, really trying to stamp on Newcastle being able to play out from the back, even be able to play through mid blocks, and he needs defenders who can carry the ball and pass the ball as well. And that's where Mr. Balerdi really excels at. So take-ons, progressive passes, pass completions, pass completions, pass attempted is very, very high. Touches, I think it gets a little bit higher though. So let me just quickly focus on a little bit there as well. Shooting is not the big, so passing type. So a lot of 90s and 80s here. We talked about passing completed, total passing distance, 97 percentile. So quite, he seems to be the fulcrum, like especially in terms of Marseille's build-up play. I saw a little bit of Marseille stats. So Marseille are like the second highest in League 1 for possession stats. So I think some of the tackling stats are going to be a little bit lower because I think he has to do less of the tackling, in my opinion. But you can see why their build-up is so good as well, why they're so good in possession, because they've got defenders like this. So pass completion, so 90 percentile for pass completion, progressive distance, passing distance, short passes, typical medium passes, attempted and completed in the 90s and 80s for that. Long passes, so passes, a lot more further than what yards is that? 30 yards. So 30 yards, 84 percentile, which is incredible. Really, really, really good. And obviously, passing to the final third, which is key, is what Newcastle, Eddie Howe in particular, is looking for. He's in the 93rd out for that. So passing is a big thing for him. Not too bad on the take-ons as well. Pass types, so live ball passes, so kind of not set pieces, like him in play passes through balls, which is going to be key. And you see in his scouting reports as well that he's very, very good at passing the ball in between, so completed passes sent between back defenders into open spaces. So being able to, again, going back to being able to break down mid blocks, being able to help us to break down mid blocks, hopefully playing with a ball passing goalkeeper like Trafford. You can imagine him and Mr. Balerdi doing 1-2s together if they could as well. So really, really high in those passing stats. Shot creating actions, 94 percentile. Obviously, this is versus other centre backs. So he's going to be key in terms of progressing our play from the back and creating those opportunities, shot creating opportunities for Newcastle. And I think you guys would have seen some of the clips of him even scoring goals as well, which is good. Goal creating actions and goal creating actions from live ball passes in the 70 percentile for that, which is absolutely, which is really good. But the defending is going to be important. Tackles in the 70 percentile. You'll see in the scouting report, they really, really like his ability in 1v1 duels. And I think that's key for Newcastle, especially when we're going to be keeping a high line. It's the 1v1 duels that they really like him in. The aerial duels is satisfactory, not as good, but it's the 1v1 duels that they're going to be really key on. And you can see it here, kind of, is an 80 percentile for number of unsuccessful challenges. So number of unsuccessful challenges plus number of dribblers tackles. So it's an 82 percentile. He challenges dribblers. That's going to be the main thing. Interceptions. Where is his success? Where is the dribble? Okay, dribblers tackles, 62 percentile. Let me know what you guys think. Is that too low? Is that too high? Not too high. Is that too low for you guys? Let me know. But the scouting reports do say that they see him as really good in those kind of situations. Interception, 77 percentile, which shows intelligence, not too bad. If you had tackles and interceptions together, he's in the 79 percentile. Again, not too bad. And he plays for a team, like I said, in Marseille, who are high possession teams. So his tackling stats aren't necessarily going to be through the roof. In possession, playing for possession team, touches 99 percentile. His team really, really rely on him to be able to play the ball from the back, like we were on Lewis Hall, for instance, like we do with Schar again, for instance. That's the big thing. That's in the touches in the defensive third, so playing the ball out the back, 97 percentile. Touches in the middle third, 9, because Marseille are able to keep the ball in the opponent's half. He's in the 97 percentile. And this is going to be, this shows a key reason why Newcastle are looking at him. Touches, live balls, in terms of in the game, 99 percentile. In possession is very, very good, clearly. Take-ons attempted, 93%. He's not scared to take on the ball. Successful take-ons, and this is the key part, 96 percentile. So his ability, so number of defenders take on successfully. So he's able to take on players by dribbling past them. And this includes unsuccessful take-ons and attempts, and to be able to retain possession as well. So it takes all of that. He's in the 96 percentile. Carries, 96 percentile again. Able to, number of times a player controlled the ball with their feet. It's him at 90% carrying distance. You can see what his game's about. Possession, passing, ability on the ball, very, very high. Progressive carrying distance, progresses into the penalty area, passes received. They really look to this guy. Ball recoveries is phenomenal, 98 percentile, so picking up loose balls. Tackles won, 84 percentile. Interception, 77 percentile. He's absolutely phenomenal. Now, for a guy that tall, his aerial duels can be a little bit higher. But guys, he's absolutely phenomenal in terms of some of his stats. And you can see a big, big reason as to why I think Newcastle are looking at him. Now, I'm going to go into the chats in a moment, but I'm going to just quickly say in terms of his scouting reports, I might have to, where is it? Come out of this first. So passing, take-ons, carrying, possession, 1v1s, dribblers tackled, ball recoveries. He's very, very good. He's at the peak of his powers, 26. In January, he'll be 27. He's at the peak of his powers, doing really, really well. And you can see why Newcastle are looking at for him. So let me just see. Because I want to, let me just make sure I add. So I wanted to summarize. So I'll summarize. So there was 2 scouting reports that I looked at. And we'll look at his clips in a moment as well. One from, well, 2. Where is it? So there's one I looked at from Raghav Sharma. This is in 2023. But what Raghav does really, really well, he covers Balerdi from 2021 up to the 23-24 season. And you get to kind of see how he's progressed in that time. And you kind of, why I did that, because you get to, like I said, you could get to see how he's progressed in that time and what kind of player he is in his essence, essentially. Which again, he highlights just how he is. And bear in mind, he's a captain for Marseille as well. So you've got some leadership qualities. You can see some ingredients, Eddie Howe. You can see some Eddie Howe ingredients in him there. And I think there's an up-to-date scouting report. There was one, but it says a similar thing. So what is he about? Let's see. From 2021. So he's Marseille's defensive and make sure you guys can see that. I'm just going into it like. Yeah, you can. Let me just zoom in a little bit though. All right, so he's Marseille's defensive anchor, and you can see that from the number of touches he has on the ball. 90 percentile passing, progressive passing, take-ons. You can see that progression was a big thing in from 2021 season to 2023 season. So you can see that he started at Boca Juniors, moved to Borussia Dortmund in 2018, joined Marseille in 2020. He's a key centre back for Marseille now, contributing to a strong defensive record. This is in 2023, right? And this is still the case now in 2025. In 21, he played 17 matches for them. He showed strong in possession, which again we've seen that develop, dribbling and passing accuracy. So we've seen those skills develop. Showed improvement in defensive duels as well. In 22-23 season, he played 21 matches, where he's in the 97 percentile for defensive duels per 90. So 73.1 wins per win rate. The stats that I showed you guys wasn't per 90. So if you so that kind of evens things out, because obviously Marseille are a team that holds a lot of the ball. So you have to do less tackling. But if you kind of break it down per 90, I wouldn't be surprised if his win rate is just as high. But you can see that his defensive duels is not a problem. 73% rate, 12.36 recoveries, which is phenomenal. 5.18 interceptions and 2.52 in clearances per match. So he was doing that in 22-23 seasons. High pressing. Again, we're going to be a high pressing team. 19 counter pressing recoveries in middle and final third, which basically means Marseille are pressing the opposition team. The opposition team perhaps is in the low block. Ball breaks loose. They're about to launch a counter attack, but Mr. Balerdi is there to stop the counter attack, collecting the loose ball or making a tackle. And that's where he excels at. 19 counter pressing recoveries in the middle and final third. So you can see that if he were to play for Newcastle, he'll be the more active and the more intensive player. If he's playing alongside Botman or he's playing alongside Byrne, for instance. His passing again is 89 percentile in those years, and that's continued to be the case now. Forward passing, 77% accuracy, progressing the ball forward. Passes into the final third. Again, a big thing. So you can see his role. He's primarily playing as a centre back for Marseille, which is interesting, and occasionally playing at right back. So he can play at right back as well. So you can see maybe potential rotation with Livramento as well, or Newcastle going into a back three, right? And maybe Livramento pushing up further into a right wing back role. So again, it gives Howe defensive flexibility. He combines solid defending with ball playing ability, leading Marseille's backline, significant improvement in defensive progressive play, and you can see that through the years as well. So he's done absolutely phenomenally well. So you can see that he's made incredible. So he's a kind of progression. He's a key contributor for Marseille. He's their captain. He showcases strong defensive instincts and ball playing ability, progression, significant improvement in his ball progression, his defensive duels, his recoveries, and passing accuracies. He's versatile, can play left centre back, right centre back, as well as right back as well. And this is at 24. Potential and maturity, leadership when he's become captain, ongoing development to make him vital for Marseille. And he is vital for Marseille. And guys, let me know what you guys think. I'm going to get him onto a compilation in a moment. Let's see. Again, I haven't seen him play. So all of this is pretty new to me. But before I show the video, I'm going to get you guys views on him as well. So let me get that on. Where is it? And folks, do remember to like, share, and subscribe. Have we hit that 800 subscribers? I would love to know if we have. But before we see his compilation, let me see if there's anything in the chat. Tons in the chat, to be honest. Oh, did I say how many subscribers did I say? Oh, you're saying 699 subs. Sorry. I thought it was, I don't know how many subs I've got. Okay, 700 subs. If we can hit we went away from 700 subs. Guys, there's got to be someone here who hasn't subscribed. Do hit that. Appreciate you, Preach, for doing that. Kim Cam. Oh, thank you, Kim Cam. What do you think of the show? I enjoy it. I feel at home. Oh, yeah. If you're talking about my show, thanks, Kim Cam. I appreciate that. I really, really appreciate that. Yes, Elanga was dancing with Sulla. So we hope to see him. I hope to see him play. So Balerdi is Argentinian. So what's the Italian thing for? The name sounds Italian. He can speak Italian as well, by the way. So I think that's where the Tonali connection will be. So what an interesting background. Honestly, interesting background for Mr. Balerdi. Always enjoy watching Philip. He is also on other channels. Thank you, Mighty Mag. Thank you for that endorsement. God bless you. So, Kim Cam, Balerdi is an excellent defender despite the hate campaign by a Mars supporter. I saw something about someone saying that they're not going to eat until Balerdi either leaves the club or something like that. And I said, okay, let me just see for myself where we are. NUFC Pro. I don't know if you saw first onto the chat, but God bless you. We ain't signing Balerdi, bro. He's Marseille captain. They don't need the money. Okay. He would cost North for 50 million. No chance we spend that on a 26-year-old. No chance of getting him for the reported 35 million. Well, let's see. You seem quite convinced. Well, you are convinced of that. So let's see. Especially, we've also been putting a bid for Tapsoba allegedly as well. So let's see how that goes. What else have we got? Anybody on? Okay, so on July, so BT says on July 2021, he joined Marseille permanently, signing a 5-year contract. Balerdi extended his contract by 2 more years until 2028. Also been promoted captain of the squad. Yeah, he done absolutely phenomenal. He was. Okay, someone says, okay, Phil F. He wasn't born in Ukraine. Okay, he wasn't born. He's also a very error-prone defender. So why does it say on FBref he was born in Ukraine? Had a Marseille fan go on hunger strike? He did, apparently. So some mixed reviews from Marseille fans, but his stats show really good, and the scout reports really, really like him. So let's see a bit of his compilation. Again, I haven't seen a 90-minute view of this guy. So I'm really keen to get to see what you guys think of him. Kim Cam. BT sounds like a Kieran Clark waiting to happen. Goodness gracious. Kim Cam, Argentina is an Italian Sav heaven. Okay, so Argentinian is an Italian save heaven. I don't know what that means. Let me know what you think, what that means, Kim Cam. So let me see a bit of his compilation. Again, I'm not going to be sitting here saying, oh yeah, buy him. I haven't seen him play. But let me get a compilation of him playing for Marseille captain. He's the focal point of what they're doing. High in possession. Well, see that interception there. Carrying, yep, the take-ons. You can see why the take-ons are high. He's doing all of that. Sheesh. You can see why it's high. All the way to the final third there. He doesn't let go of the ball under pressure. Good challenge there as well. He's not afraid to put his foot in. He looks massive, by the way. 6'3", 6'4", right? That's the one. Love that. Love that how he beat the press. Lovely pass there. Sets the attack on. Okay. I know it's a comp. And I haven't seen the reasons. I'm sure the guy who went on hunger strike has got his own comps. That's a lovely switch ball there. Lovely. You can see why they're putting him next to Schar. He's not looking like Kieran Clark to me, guys. He's not looking like Kieran Clark to me. High, won the ball high. You can see it from the stats. He wins it in that mid-third as well. Sets off attacks. Oh, great interception there. So I'm not going to play too long. I don't want YouTube to get me. But guys, let me know what you guys think of him so far. He's got some really, really good stats there. But he's not the only one that's been linked to us today. Newcastle have also been allegedly putting a bid for Mr. Edmond Tapsoba. And you guys remember him from last summer. We were linked to him. And I'm not, because of time, I can't go into his scouting report, but he's got kind of quite similar traits. I compared Mr. Tapsoba to Balerdi, so you get a little bit of a flavor of how Tapsoba plays. Obviously, just remember, guys, that in fact, let me just go back quickly because just to remind people at least of his profile. Just remember that he's an invincible. He was a key part of that invincible squad for Leverkusen in the 23-24 season when they went invincible in their league, did the league and cup double as well. So he's certainly got that winning pedigree. He's also 26 years old. He's going to be 27 in February, so a month after Balerdi as well. So interesting, we've got two 26-year-olds from leagues outside of the Premier League that have been linked to Newcastle. That's so, so I do think that if we are going to go for these guys, I can't remember what the bid was. If anybody can remind me, I think it was 45 million bid for Mr. Tapsoba. So let's see what happens. He's currently valued at 35 million euros. So it's about 30 million pounds or so. Part of the invincible squad, 26 years old, has already played 157 games in the Bundesliga, including 41 Europa League games, 14 Champions League games, which is absolutely phenomenal. So really a lot of experience there, as well as obviously being part of a league and cup double Leverkusen side who went invincible. So let's do some comparison stats between him, Balerdi, and a little bit later on Schar, and let me see what you guys are saying. Who would you guys prefer? Already some people aren't fancying Balerdi. I haven't seen him play, so I haven't got any real kind of like strong comments on him just yet. But let's see. Right, so and we're going to give a little bit of a conclusion. I use FB Ref Stats and a bit of AI to kind of match different things. Tapsoba versus Balerdi 24-25 season, by the way. So where is it? Right, passing. Balerdi edges in accuracy and final third passes, showing better distribution than Tapsoba. Pass types. Tapsoba is more involved in creating chances. Balerdi more conservative, interesting. Goal and shot creation. Tapsoba, again, slightly better in shot creating actions than Balerdi. Defensive actions. Balerdi stronger in duels, but Tapsoba is more active in challenges. Possession. Tapsoba is more involved. Balerdi is more selective, in terms of touches, take-ons, and so on. Playing time, I think they both played. This is squarely in their respective leagues. So Tapsoba's had 29 starts in the Bundesliga, and Balerdi has had 27 starts in the in Ligue 1. So they're very much first team players, obviously, as well, at the peak of their powers. So they've had a lot of involvement with their teams. Tapsoba, though, is far more the aerial duel winner compared to Balerdi as well. So look, in conclusion, Tapsoba excels in duels, take-ons compared to Balerdi. Excels in aerial duels, take-ons, and shot creating actions, making him more versatile and a bigger physical presence, which is a really kind of Eddie Howe characteristics. Balerdi, shines in dual successes, so 73%. I think that's from previous ones though. This one, dual successes, passing accuracy as well, 89%, and counter pressing, so in 19. So kind of, which is interesting. So comparisons. So Tapsoba offers more offensive involvement and physicality, ideal set for pieces and transitions, which Newcastle are at now, and Balerdi provides more superior defensive consistency and distribution key for structured play. So from playing from out the back. Overall, both are elite centre backs, with Tapsoba better suited for aerial and creative roles, while Balerdi anchors with precision and recovery. So choice depends on tactical needs. So with that guy, so it's quite clear Tapsoba is more suited for aerial and creative roles, but Balerdi anchors with precision and recovery. Now I'm gonna compare them to Schar in a moment, and I'm gonna at the end of it, I'm gonna ask. I asked AI who's more closer to in their playing style to Schar. So who I guess that will kind of give us an indicator, at least a strong indicator of who might suit Newcastle the best. But before I do that, let me see what you guys are saying in the chat. BT. And yeah, do let me know if you guys do remember to like, share, and subscribe, folks. I don't know if we've broken. I don't know if I got. Is it 700 subscribers we're trying to break, or 800 subscribers? I can't remember. Let me see on my phone. Is it 800 or 700? I can't even remember. 700 subscribers have done it. We've got a total of 700 subscribers. Well done to you guys. You are absolutely phenomenal. It's from all your liking, your sharing, subscribing, your engagement in the chat, and you guys have been absolutely phenomenal. So big up to you guys as well. BT was sent. So sorry, going back to the chats. BT was he was sent off. That been Balerdi in a 2-2 draw of Strasbourg. In another match, he was shown a straight card for pulling the shirt of an opponent while he was. So are you saying he's got a bit of discipline problems? Let me know, BT. BT Tapsoba predominantly played in the back three. He did for Xabi Alonso's system at Leverkusen. Very, very fluid system as well. So some tactical. So you got to have like tactical intelligence to do that, which I think Hal would love. Now, Kane, can you see Newcastle making movement now with this new rule taking place? What rule? I think it came in either today or to yesterday, which might be holding up deals for a number of teams in this window. Now, do let me know what rule. I would love to. I'd love to be able to know. Do let me know what rule. BT, having lost Jonathan Tah to Bayern Munich and Odion Cassano to Atlanta, Leverkusen will not want to lose another experienced central defender. Yeah, well, it depends if they want to stay, because Xabi Alonso is also gone as well. Maybe they need to redo their team. They've got Kwanzaa in now. Let us know. Maybe I wouldn't be surprised. He's already won everything for them in terms of Tapsoba, so I wouldn't be surprised if he's looking for new challenges. Mighty Mag, but great point though, BT. Mighty Mag, well done for hitting 700. Thank you, sir. 700 subscribers, and you've been smashing. Thank you, Mighty Mag. You guys, sharing, liking, subscribing, letting people know about it. I'm so appreciative, guys. Well done. Cy Robson, thank you. Congratulations on the 700, Philip. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that, guys. Really, really appreciate that as well. BT, so what? That's football. Oh, is that the for the red cards? Possibly. Right. So let's compare these guys. And like I said, I'm going to ask the question at the end. Or I asked AI the question at the end. I used the FBref stats and I said, whose playing style is closest to Schar? And as an indicator of maybe who might be most suited to Newcastle, playing for Newcastle. Let me know from you guys know. Let me know from now, who would you prefer for Newcastle? Balerdi or Tapsoba? Do let me know. So I said, okay, obviously we matched them, Balerdi and Schar and Tapsoba. We've looked them at, we've kind of put a comparison with all of them together. In terms of like passing, right? Balerdi leads in accuracy and final third passing. Schar has the lowest involvement out of the two. So they're both an upgrade on Schar, which is good. Passing types, which is what we want essentially. Passing types. Tapsoba's most creative, apparently. So Schar, well, not apparently, it's there. It's most creative. Schar is a bit more moderate, and Balerdi has least involvement. Interesting. So Tapsoba is leading the way in terms of passing types. Goal and shot creations. Tapsoba again, edges and short creating actions. Schar and Balerdi are quite similar in terms of that. Defensive actions. Balerdi is strongest in duels. I think that's ground duels possibly. And Tapsoba is most active. So I think maybe kind of attempts. And Schar is moderate, which you'd expect from a 33-year-old. These guys are 4 or 5 years younger than him, right? It's good to see so far that they're both upgrades on Schar. If Schar is leading in all these comparisons and all these metrics, we've got a problem, right? I'm going to be saying that why we're looking at these guys, but they're doing what they're supposed to be doing, which is leading. Okay, possession. Tapsoba is most involved, whilst Schar is least engaged in take-ons. So compared to all these guys, so when it comes to touches, take-ons, Tapsoba is the guy that's winning. Tapsoba seems to be like the clear favorite so far. Playing time, obviously, playing time is whatever. Like, I think Tapsoba's played 29 starts, whilst Balerdi has 27. Schar has 25 starts in their respective leagues. And some miscellaneous stats, and that is, so Tapsoba leads the aerial duels and dominates aerially, whilst Balerdi is the weakest, and Schar is solid. So he's probably a little bit ahead of Balerdi, which is interesting. So final conclusion, closest in playing style. Tapsoba, Balerdi, and Schar analysis. So Schar's playing style blends solid aerial ability, moderate creativity, and balanced defensive actions. So when you put it on FBref, Tapsoba with strong aerial dominance and higher shot creation aligns more closely in physical and transitional play. That's Newcastle, though he's more involved offensively. So Balerdi with superior dual success and passing accuracy focuses more on possession and defensive stability, diverging from Schar's versatility. So he plays in a more possession-based team in terms of Marseille. I think Newcastle need a bit of both, possession as well as transition kind of based team. So the verdict: Tapsoba is closest to Schar due to their shared aerial prowess and involvement in creating chances. Despite Tapsoba's greater offensive edge, Balerdi's style leans more towards possession control, less to matching Schar's all-round profile. So it's Tapsoba, who we've been linked via, I think it's Africa.com. It's also on Give Me Sport, who have quoted them as well. And I said, look, Newcastle have put in for Tapsoba. And it's interesting as well that on the day when Mark Gahey has come upon the news saying he's agreed personal agreements with Liverpool, and it's definitely looking like he's going to Liverpool, that we've put out, we've let journalists like Craig Hope know, hey, we're exploring a deal with Balerdi, and there's other sources saying, hey, forget that, they put in a bid in for Mr. Tapsoba. So Newcastle already put in their irons in a lot of fire. But according to stats, FBref stats and AI, it's Mr. Tapsoba who's most closest to Schar's playing style. And let me see if you guys are up for it. Hope you're up for it. I'm going to show a little bit of compilation for Tapsoba. Just a reminder. Tapsoba has the closest playing style between him and Balerdi to Schar. And that to me is an indicator of who might be best suited for our team. All of his compilations are from a year ago, so I might have to settle for that. Let me see if I'll have anything closer. All right, I'll have to settle for a year ago. I'll settle for a year ago. Okay, so let me pause that and get back to that. But let me set up, and then I'll see what you guys are saying in the chats as well. And big up to you guys again. We've reached 700 subscribers on the show today. I think we're 5, 6 off, 4 off, whatever it was. And you guys showed a tremendous response as well. But I have to say that both defenders sound promising to me. I've seen Tapsoba play 2, maybe 3 times. So that's 2 or 3 more than Balerdi. So I'm not gonna make a concrete, oh, Tapsoba is definitely better, but the FB ref stats certainly indicate that Mr. Tapsoba is better. So before we get there, let me see what you guys are saying in the chats. Who would you guys prefer? No. Okay. They are both old at 20. So BT, they are both old at 26. Do you mean old in terms of maybe for our profile? Because I don't think they're old players. Like they're players at their peak. So I'm sure you mean that they're in terms of maybe where we're used to looking for. And I think it's because again, I think Eddie Howe's compensating via age. To say, okay, they come from different leagues, but they've got this wealth of experience, plenty of Champions League experience, Europa League experience, international experience, as well as obviously experience in their teams. Tapsoba's won trophies. He's gone invincible. Those type of qualities are very, 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 very important. And he's played for a very tactically flexible side under Xabi Alonso. Andy Balerdi could be better. Tapsoba got cooked by Lookman in the Europa League final. Certain things do stick out. And maybe when people see stuff as well about certain players. Cy Robson, has Tapsoba always played in the back 3 or has he ever played in the back 4? So I'm going to wait to say he has played. I remember doing the show on this, but I think he has played in the back 4. Xabi Alonso is so flexible that I think he has played in the back 4. Though how often, I'm not quite sure. BT, no, Edmond Tapsoba has not always played in the back 3, and he is good. Thank you for answering that. And he is left-footed also, being played as a left-sided centre-back. Is he left-footed? On Transfer Market, it says he's right-footed. What does it say on FB Ref? On Transfer Market, they got him as left-footed. No, excuse me. On Transfer Market, they got him as right-footed. What have they got him on? Because maybe Transfer Market made a mistake. So let's see what FB Ref are saying. He's right-footed on FB Ref, BT. So you might have maybe he's both-footed. Maybe he's both-footed. Andy, Balerdi is underrated in League R. Okay, so you say if you've seen him play, let me know. Andy, what's your thoughts on him? Let me know your thoughts. Robson, I'd go for Tapsoba. He's got the height advantage over Balerdi. Yeah, he's massive. So speaking of Mr. Tapsoba, let me play a quick compilation of him, and then we'll give a conclusion and see what we think. Just a reminder, because I remember again we've looked at him. We've been looking at him for a number of years now, to be honest. I think even from the beginning of our takeover as well. He is huge though. How big is he on the FB Ref? What height is he? 6'3". Oh, he looks like according to FB Ref, he's shorter than Balerdi. Yeah, it's got the ability to set, long distance passing. He's massive though, strong there, great physical presence, take-ons, taking the ball out the back, and that's all Eddie Howe wants his defender to be able to do, and it's a super helpful way to be able to break down mid blocks as well. Strong there, lovely under pressure, playing out from pressure as well. Again, take-ons and setting off attack. That's a lovely through ball, by the way. Lovely take-ons, closing down players high up the pitch in the middle third as well. Crucial for Newcastle there. Great interception there. Lovely ball again with his right foot there. That's with his right foot, by the way. Again with his right foot, switch play. He's playing on the left side and he's crossing it with his right foot predominantly as well. Lovely work there. Again, take on into the final third. Rise the challenge. Let's see how he plays up from the back here. Lovely work there from Tapsoba. So again, a lot of qualities there. Can play out from the back. He appears to be right-footed from the clips as well. Really, really, really good work there from Tapsoba. Because I know Tapsoba a little better, and I'm going to go with the stats, I'll probably want Tapsoba. Hopefully, maybe those rumors are true that we're putting a bid for him. Hopefully, Leverkusen accept it. We'll see. We will find out. All right. So let me just see in the love line. So in the chats as well, Andy, have you looked at Louis Baldi at Sevilla? I think about 6 to 8 months ago, I looked at Louis Baldi. Let me know if he's improved, how he's doing. Um, Pretty decent. From what I can remember, he's like an emerging talent, not emerging talent, but is he? I don't know how old he is now, but he had a few things to work on, but he's very, very promising. But I think from what I can see from Tapsoba, I think Tapsoba is probably a level above him. GE Football says he's left-footed, possibly BT, but from what I can see, the compilations, FB Ref, and Transfer Market, they've got him down as right-footed. He could be left. He could be both, to be honest, but that's what they're saying. So, folks, we're going to conclude the show. You've been absolutely phenomenal. We obviously did the comparisons with with the Tapsoba. We talked a lot about. We did a scouting profile of Balerdi, who's been Leonardo Balerdi, who's been linked to us via Craig Hope. That Newcastle exploring a deal for him, but we've also looked at Mr. Edmond Tapsoba, who, in fact, some media outlets have gone a step further and said Newcastle have put in like a £40+ million a bid for him. So apparently Newcastle have bid for him. We'll find out. We'll see if it hits major outlets either later on today or latest today, next day as well. We'll find out. So we looked at Edmond Tapsoba, looked at Balerdi, we compared them to each other, we compared them to Schar. It looks like Tapsoba is maybe that kind of better profile for Newcastle. They're both 26, interestingly, and one has a birthday in January, one has a birthday in February. So a little bit older in profile compared to what we were looking for before, which is really, really, really interesting. So let's see what happens with that. We also did a simulation of what Newcastle recruitment model could be, because we're facing all these rejections apparently, and obviously we've simulated the Joao Pedro deal and where it possibly has gone wrong. And you guys did a super job in talking about how we need the CEO, we need the footballing director, who's doing the major deals. But at the same time, look, there's external factors. Chelsea came in with the higher wages. They met the agreed fee, and looks like Joao Pedro probably always wanted to go to Chelsea if in terms of how quickly he responded to them as well. So these things happen. We're not going to cry over spilt milk. There is a growing narrative. Well, it's already there. Growing narrative amongst football content creator world and legacy media who want to act like the cool kids that Newcastle are getting rejected left, right, and centre. They're including bids with that as well. But it is what it is. What matters is who comes in at the end of the day. Now, saying that, Newcastle's pre-season is July the 7th, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. And we want to be able to see at least two, hopefully 3 players through that door. Will it happen? Hopefully it will. Let me know in the comments. Let know in the comments. Do you think Newcastle will get players over the line by pre-season? And if you can, also write the name of the player who you think who will be there at pre-season. That would be absolutely phenomenal. And thank you again, guys, in the chat. Thank you to Mighty Mag. Brilliant show, Philip. Appreciate you, Mighty Mag. Sarah Robson, thank you. Great footy chat, Philip. Appreciate you guys. Thank you to BT, to Andy, to Kim Cam, to Niall Kane, to Unaya, to Durban, to Luca. Good to see you, Luca. God bless you. To Phil F, to Sophie B, to Adrian Kainth, Mikey P, to all the folks here as well, to Kishan. Really, really, you guys, thank you guys for also getting us to 700 subs in the live show itself. First time ever doing that, actually. And you've been absolutely phenomenal. And it's for all your liking, your sharing. And now let's try and get into the comments as well. You've been absolutely phenomenal in that. So make sure you guys look after each other. Make sure you have a great, great evening. As always, look after yourselves, and God bless, folks.